Okay, in this video I am going to explain you what are you going to work in this week. So in the last step you define your problem precisely, clearly, viable, graspable, and specifically in a space and in a specific situation. You will be engaged in an entrepreneurial perspective. In this step, you're going to work with that main problem that you have defined, and you are going to analyze it by causes and effects. So in the next 4 weeks, we are going to work on the next steps of the formative project. Remember that in this workshop, the idea is to produce an idea. There are different paths or ways to obtain an idea. I am showing only one kind of way, which is beginning with a problem, necessity, gap, or opportunity from a research process and from a brainstorming process, and then selecting that problem, which is narrowed in the specific viable perspective, then you are going to analyze that problem. And then you are going to try to pose an hypothesis of the main problem or of one of the causes. With that hypothesis, then you will have to prove if the hypothesis is true or if it's not true. And then how you're going to prove that? You're going to design a survey and you're going to implement that survey in the population that has that problem. And then you will have to analyze your data. Analyze your data and then try to see if the idea you have is viable or is not viable. And then finally you will try to describe your idea and the possibility or probability of success or not with that general validation process. So now you are only going to work with this logical or logic framework analysis. Particularly, you're going to be working on three things. First of all, the tree problem, then the objective tree, and finally, the stakeholder analysis. So remember that in the last step you define the problem. The problem should be described, describing a problematic situation, and also the problem must include time and space elements, and also the problem should have a clear and realistic description. With that problem, then you have the main problem. You will have the trunk of the tree of your problem tree analysis. The thing that you're going to do now is that also in a collaborative process of your team working together, you're going to find out which do you think are the root causes of the problem, and also which do you think are the consequences of the problem. No? In this case, for example, if you are thinking of a necessity or something, that necessity maybe produces some problematic situation that has some consequences. And that's why sometimes many ideas pop up and are built because precisely there is a problematic situation that produces consequences that are also um, negative for the people involved in that problematic situation. And that consequence goes from a cause. Okay, so you are going to describe those causes. Then the tree problem in the left part will be changed to an objective tree. Okay, so first of all, you're going to produce your tree problem. That is, you have the main problem. Then you will search at least 3 causes, and then you're going to search at least 3 consequences of that. And in order to generate the objective problem, the objective tree, you will have to change the main problem and the causes and the consequences in a positive manner. Okay, so the main problem will be changed to an objective. It is not a problem now, it's an objective. It is changed from negative to positive. Then also the causes that create the problem, the main problem, are going to be changed from negative causes to positive means. And also the same thing to the consequences will be changed to ends. Okay, so let's see an example. For example, you see in the left part, you see an example of a tree problem. No? A tree problem where the problem is very simple: frequent bus accidents. And in this problem tree analysis, the frequent bus accidents are analyzed by 3 root causes. And each of these root causes has, root causes um, include another subcause. For example, one of the causes of frequent bus accidents could be drivers are not careful enough. And what is the cause of that drivers are not careful enough? It's that drivers lack driving skills. Okay? Lack driving skills. Also, you will find that another cause of frequent bus accidents is that there are bad conditions of vehicles. And you can see 2 subcauses that are linked hierarchically to bad conditions of vehicles. Okay, so that is, vehicles are too old. That's why bad conditions of vehicles, and also is insufficient maintenance. Those 2 causes produce another root cause, which is bad condition of vehicles. And then finally we have a cause without subcauses, which is bad condition of roads. So these 3 root causes, drivers are not careful enough, bad conditions of vehicles and bad condition of roads, that produces that there are frequent bus accidents. And what that produces in consequences? Well, passengers are hurt or killed, people arrive too late, and also loss of confidence in bus company and economic losses for passengers. All those are consequences from that problem and from those causes. Then that specific tree problem is going to be transformed in a positive manner. So the main problem is changed to a purpose, to an objective. So from frequent bus accidents is changed to frequency of bus accidents considerably reduced. Okay, so now it's changed from the problem tree to the objective tree, from negative to positive. Also, we do the same with the causes and with the consequences. So we see, for example, Drivers are not careful enough. We change to drivers drive carefully and responsible. And then we have drivers lack driving school skills. And we change from for drivers are better trained. For example, bad conditions of vehicles is changed in positive as vehicles are kept in good condition. Or bad condition of roads is changed to road conditions are improved. So all the consequences and the causes are changed in a positive way from negative to positive. So that is the thing you are going to work on this kind of exercise. Okay? And finally, you're going to analyze the stakeholders. Which are the stakeholders? The stakeholders are the people who are involved directly or indirectly in the problem, necessity, or opportunity you identify. So you will have to understand which people are involved in that problem, and um, you will fill this table. So it's going to have four columns. The first column, you're going to identify the stakeholder, that is, who is involved in the problem. For example, if it's a problem involving your community in Prepanagua, it's very easy to analyze the stakeholders of the problem. Prepanagua students, no? Uh, Teachers, Prepanagua, the director or coordinator, other schools, academic communities in the zone, etc. Depending on the problem or the necessity you identify in the school. Or maybe they would be not all the Prepanagua students, but a specific grade of the students or a specific kind of a student. So you will have to be very specific of that. So then you're going to select if it's positive or negative. And then the next column is 0 to 5, where 5 is very high importance and 0 null importance. So you will say, okay, for this problem, in order to solve this problem, Prepanagua students are very important. So we are going to put a 5. You know? In that way, you are going to prioritize and order your stakeholders from the most important to the least in order to solve the problem or to be engaged in a kind of participation or collaboration. For example, it could be the problem could be positive or negative, and it could be the importance in a positive way or in a negative way in order to tackle the problem. And then finally, you're going to estimate the number of people involved in your problem or necessity. So you're going to say, in Prepanagua students, there are, I don't know, 100 students. Or maybe you identify that it is not Prepanagua students, it is Prepanagua first grade students only. Okay, how many are there? No? So maybe you will have to estimate that. Okay, so that's why you need to have a specific problem in order to do this. Okay, and finally, your report will have a table of content. This table of content includes these 5 parts, and also your report should have a table of contents. The first part is your problem definition. Okay, it's only the paragraph, the 3 lines or the extension you had in order to define your problem. The 3 problem analysis, you will have your main problem, the causes and the consequences analyzed in a 3 problem chart. Then you will have an objective tree analysis chart, then the stakeholder analysis, and finally your conclusion. And then that is the complete report you're going to deliver for this week. Remember that all the other reports will have to be included in a complete report that will be delivered at the end of the course. So begin integrating it with good quality, please.